Hello, and welcome back. Right, this is pretty much the left things before, so let's have a look. Let's speed up a little bit of time. One disadvantage to only having one field, only one set of work to do, truthfully, unless of course I was going to do contracts, but truly it's not something I'm a massive fan of, unless you ran into trouble. No pillow, no doormat, no house. Right, still growing. Sometimes when you do fast forward, it doesn't always reflect. You get that wave where everything grows. So just have a run up and down the field, make sure that it is going to catch up. Okay, what we could do, and that is let's get these mowers ready, because that is get all the equipment across. We're going to need ready for action as much as you possibly can. It's busy on the road. I'm sure the traffic waits for when you start to move around in the field. Absolutely love polymers, and absolutely amazing mod app. It's something that console players do get this time around in the FS19. It's so invaluable for moving stuff around, fetching stuff. Amazing mod. The detail on this map, it is absolutely amazing. Just to me feels one of those maps that literally does just pop out and it's real. Be careful when you drop those, sometimes you can get too close to an object and it literally when the mod goes tries to go through these and you get a bit of a recoil. So you have to be careful, you have to try and make sure I pull back a little bit. Use the equipment mod, it's 8, just look at the damage on that. That I have a lot of content creators go on and on about using this particular mod, and I think it's so balanced when you look at the, especially with seasons. I think the base game treats it slightly differently. But on seasons, there's no denying it really is messy. It really does look gangly. Right, I was ready for action. Let's get that back into the field. And I think we're going to speed up time again until it's not ready now. It's going to be another day. One thing I'm hoping is that, as I said, this is my second attempt at my first attempt at a YouTuber creating content, and on my first attempt we actually had a full snowstorm, which was rather interesting and unexpected for spring. I know it can happen, but it was quite hilarious. Luckily it did go as soon as it came, but hoping that we did get a more spring-like weather. I suppose in the UK actually, to be honest, although reasonably rare it can happen. Ready on course play, get the course set and everything, so we'll get all the jobs that we can do out of it. This one. Always does that. Even though the back mowers on, the leaves, it always seems to only choose the smaller mower to manually put that one. It's amazing how some of the equipment, of course, plays a little bit. Now these are 7 metres, man, I'm up to 6.9, just to give it a little bit of leeway with it being I had help. Smash it. Switch the wireframe on this room. Didn't look nice, hasn't it? Yeah, that looks right. Oh, excellent. Yeah, still growing, so let's speed up time. Slow it down that tea time just in case. Oh, I think it's going to be tomorrow morning now. bit of time for the growth wave to sweep across the thing, if it is going to happen. If not, as I say, it will be tomorrow. It says, just an educated guess. Nope. Right, okay then. Not sure whether to put the it makes more sense to put the mat down here really than it does at the BGA. But eventually like a proper house, but for now, yeah, it always does this only one night allowed because it's technically, yeah, in fact I want to show you guys that. One thing that it has allowed me, I could have made use of this, but I wanted it to be a true start from scratch thing. It has actually still given me the farm silo, and it probably has got also, I could actually sell that, but I didn't want to do so. I wanted to, it's also got the house somewhere. Yeah, farmhouse as well. That's why it's saying only one item allowed. But if you ignore it, energy pots, activate extended placeables on, it will actually let you do this if you ignore the message. Right, and that should show you what I mean. There we go. One sleep. Well, it's just first speak time. I'll just take it to, it's usually 7 or 8 o'clock. Let's do it straight to a hour's sleep. Right, see what I mean? The money has ticked up with it quite so much time to just under 20 grand. With 7, that would have probably been up to about 100,000 by now, with me doing absolutely nothing, which, as I say, that can pick up over a small piece of equipment after a couple of days of fast forwarding, but it's not hardly game changing amounts of money, but it can save you bacon with buying one small piece of equipment every now and again. And over an entire year of fast forwarding, I would imagine it would be 150,000, but again, it's nothing that's gonna, can't buy a harvester or a big one. It'd have to everything be modded, so it's very balanced. No, still not going to be today then. There you go, educated guess, and I was wrong. Let's fast forward it to like tea time. Ah, I wasn't wrong. It's there. Just impatient. One of my bad qualities. Right, okay then. Let's get cutting. Now then, this is what I was saying to you about the wireframe. If you now that is actually on. This only has the start and finish activate by standard, but when you are trying to gauge whereabouts on the field you'd be, you truly do need the wireframe on just to gauge the halfway point for start roughly at the right place. So roughly, guesstimate about there. Once you're in position, some snap off. Get a bit of work done ourselves now then. Being as this is a let's play as well on there, you guys are watching. You need to get a bit of work done manually the old fashioned way. The only weird thing about this bit of equipment, absolutely amazing, on the fact that you can actually windrow and bail all in the same pass. It's very gangly. Everything folded. Yeah, it should be that perfect for that. I should just come to the second pass, because this is roughly a 9 metre spread on this. It's 8.5 I think it is actually. A bit longer than the 7 metre spread that the large mower has. So. This is the bit where most people are thinking of the disadvantage of the round baler versus the square baler, but truthfully I always think that opening and closing the back like that really is, when you consider the long wait that you've got with a square baler, I truly think that that's a very, very small price to pay. When I've watched Friscar pull his hair out, truthfully, at doing square baling when he does the baler wrapping, and I just think that this is a much more, although I've got the faffy bits of opening and closing and keeping your eye on, I think it's like the two approaches with square or round baling. I truly prefer the round baling. So the only disadvantage I personally think there is, just from my personal standpoint, is the fact that round bales roll. It's exactly the same size, obviously. But just opening and closing that back, when we're at 100% keeping your eye on that, I just think it's a very small price to pay. In comparison to that mind-numbingly, let's go to the next bale, the next bale, let's wait. I think the fastest bale wrapping, about 18 seconds, like one of the coons. Yeah, and all the others are quite a little bit slower than that, so yeah, I would personally, all things considered, I would sooner do this anywhere. My bad. Actually missed a bit there. I'll catch that on the next pass. This is where you normally have with a lap or space to do this. It doesn't ever make that mistake. Certainly, yeah, getting some bales out of this bale. It's absolutely. That was the normally in the natural state. I don't think I'm a first. On some maps it looks actually ready for the from mowing on that first day. Some maps like Greenwich Valley, it's not in a way, which in some ways is an advantage because obviously we've actually run the course and fertilised it, so therefore this is perfect. Let's close the back. And it's actually meant that I think we're going to get quite a few bales out of this, which is fantastic for showing season and precision farming working together and running a successful let's play where the growth and the success is palpable, that you can actually see it. I think that's what it's about. Is when you're playing farming simulator, you want a little bit of growth, but no stagnation, and I mean, the challenge side of things is excellent. I certainly think on this let's play we certainly work right to the wire, which that's a challenge. I think that's what it's all about. It's that challenge of the game that gets you coming back for more. Excuse me. The cutting width of 40 metres equivalent if you were running with one set of mowers, which even the long side is 12.3, 12.6 full width. So having a team of two of these is actually again chattering. A bit of grass out there. A bit of clean up as well there. A good thing about the windrower and the baler are all in one though. It's excellent for cleaning up. I am nicely surprised by the amount of bales. This is a very nice surprise. I think on field 1, I don't think we've got anywhere near this. That's the advantage I think to choosing field 16 as the first field, although limited, and it really did limit us and put us to the very bone on what money we've got left. But I think we're doing alright. Just scoot around along and not miss the grass. Wow, that was kind on them, but we've gone a lot nastier. Let's just reverse everything. Right. Last year, that's ready to breathe in. had to mow field. Thankfully no rain. The one constant enemy to this process is get stuck in with the seasons, especially obviously. That's why I personally like a lot of people, and of course both the poachers are valid, but I personally think that baler wrapping is the way to go. I used to run the triple mower setup on the front, which I know it's very naughty, the game allows you to do, but isn't technically something that you really should do because of the rating of the front 3-point link versus the back one. I know there's a raging argument on that, especially if you were playing course where the game mechanics won't allow you to do that, and yes, I have tried it. I literally trying to be as realistic as possible within the game mechanics. I did actually get one of the vents with reversible controls, and of course they can't handle the tractor going in reverse. Dispatch press. So yeah, I did one course manually in reverse with a 3-mow setup, so it was realistic. Yes, I am a man. Let me concentrate on one thing properly at once. Just make sure we clean up, we don't miss any grass if there's just catch that bit. The ends up being an older person, and your memory is faulty, and you get those senior moments and forget where you were going in the conversation. I see that quite a bit. Back to one of those retro moments. This will be one where I actually I'll edit this lot out. My battery's on my controller again. Just change the mode. I shall edit that out so you guys can't see it. Mumble where it was taking me before I had my senior moment. Going through setups. Just back up again. Yeah, we have about the 3-mow setup on the, well, it was the back in the end actually to do it properly according to game mechanics, and we did use it on a Vent GT that I was using on that thing. Don't miss any grass, but capture that in the windrow. full. Should be fairly tidy. Try and get this back into a semblance of more like a square and the weird shape it's given there. Yeah, I'm very, very much surprised with the amount of sales to get from this. This is fantastic. It's actually quite amazing. I was with going this approach to the grass approach a lot, and also being interested in Farming Simulator and farming in general. I was looking at a proper mowed field in real life yesterday, and it was amazing. It was not a very large field, but it really did have a lot of bales. So it is quite amazing. From I'd say it's a slightly smaller field than this, but they must have been able to 16, 20 bales from this small field. I thought it's quite phenomenal when you actually look at it, how many bales you do get from these smaller fields. So I think the game mechanics are quite amazing. Now they do get it very realistically. Yeah. I know sometimes giants do get a bashing from all of us. Sometimes I think human failing of always seeing the failures in a game, or the failures in a piece of software, and not always admiring the good points and the things that giants have got right. And that's, I think, one of the things that all the game mechanics, when you consider it within this very complex game, is I think they have done a marvellous job overall. Of course, I do agree with everybody that it's imperfect, but then it's a human failing, isn't it? Imperfection. Certainly now I'm not perfect. Let's try and get this a little bit tidy. Yeah, I will catch up with my story honestly about the differences, the perfect setup. I do think I told you my favourite baler is the Fast Roland all-in-one, because it is phenomenal. It baler wraps, well, it's exactly the same setup as this really. It's just bale wrap in one sort of fail swoop like this one. Oh dear, more than that, let's pick it up next time. Yeah, on that setup, basically you mow with the three mower setup on the front or the back technically, and then if you run with a 3 mower setup, I usually go with the XD Bavaria Messenger. So of course you can windrow that in a single pass. Yeah, pick that up next time. See, I'll do two things well. Right. Yeah, it's if you use that mower setup, it obviously windrows, and with that behind you as well. You literally in one single go, you mow, windrow, and bale all in one pass, which is obviously perfect. It is, in my opinion, the ultimate setup for mowing. I'll tell you why it is the multiple. I did actually wish to show you guys that particular setup, because as a season beta, that is the perfect setup, because you literally mow and bale a wrap all in one go. So you actually can technically mow in the rain, which is something you just cannot do with seasons. Many of us have been caught out. with seasons it immediately starts to destroy the grass, but obviously you mow and it goes through the back and goes straight into the bale wrap patch, and unlike this one, the grass doesn't go out into the air, it literally goes in, wraps it, throws it out the back, ready wrapped, and so therefore the elements are really, for this particular type of farming, it is the perfect, and I mean that in the most definite sense, setup that you can get that will even beat seasons, the elements. I did wish to show that particular setup, but I do know that for this particular setup I would have needed a far more, I think probably the Syntrack would have been one that technically I think the 3-point links on those are equally as strong, possibly it not being the rating I would imagine on the front is exactly the same as the back, so therefore I probably could run a setup, and it would be interesting just to show you guys what I mean if we go the Syntrack route. Try and tidy that up, it's a bit messy, let's get that a bit more, just some semblance of order, so that next time I pull round hopefully I can make this more into a square. Let's pick up that my mistake from last time round. Send. Let's get this tidied up. Let's pay attention to what I'm doing as well. Yeah, it would be nice to show you guys exactly what I'm waffling on about in action, because this is obviously perfect startup setup, but I'd just like to, I'd love to show you that particular setup. So the Syntrack would be the tractor of choice that would put those who love to find fault in setups and actually be required, because I would imagine the rating on the Syntrack on the front is exactly the same as the back, because it is such a special setup. Still gone and done it. Right. Keep saying I'm going to sort this out, and they keep making the same mistake over and over again. When they're catching these extra bits of grass. You will agree though, apart from these few little blobs, it's not a bad thing windrowing and actually bale wrapping all in one go. Just catch these little blobs as we're passing. Try and get it squared off next time round. Yeah, actually not going too bad. Scoot that out of the way. Without dragging it in, it would be the first time I've dragged one of those bales in halfway across the field with me, inside the inner V there of the windrower. Very messy. Every bit counts on this when you were running on one field. This is your farm. One field farm. It's interesting, I think, actually, funnily enough. Although, obviously the traditional, if you were playing a standard game where you've got a farm and you're doing everything, you've got multiple fields, there's a certain exciting bit, oh, I'm going to get away with that. Can I knock that away? Come on, be nice to me. yeah, although I find it fantastic when you do start from scratch. The fact that this is our farm, the Swanfield. The challenge of building up from absolutely scratch to a farm. I think there's so much growth that you see in your first year, especially if you do this the silage route. I do find this the potential for growth, especially with the slurry yard. As I said, I think is definitely a huge part of the success because of the money that the digestate gives you. Really does. You can see the growth phenomenally. As I said, you would still see some growth just with the, I think we're about there. Right, I've tidied that up. It's almost to a square now. Yeah, you do really get an awful lot of money from the slurry yard, from the digestate, so it is part of the success. But I love the growth that you get from this. It is quite phenomenal in your first year how well and the amount of growth that you actually do get. Spin that around the other way. Try to get the most out of this field. Capture that. Make it square it off. So it becomes square. Capture that. Yeah, missed a bit on the left. It's just line it all up. Quite square. Keep it prettier for the next pass though. Yeah, I do. I love seeing the growth that you do get with starting from scratch versus the traditional new farmer mode. I love the challenge of the start from scratch. But as I say, I know sometimes a lot of content creators have gone the what does Frickard call it? Extreme start from scratch. Mr. CDP's done 96 Ashes was done the same way, where he started with no money. I think I remember rightly. In the end, started with minus, just to show that it can be done. But and although excellent in their own right, truly, I think the start from scratch. I know as a content creator, you've got that battle between showing something new and which I think really is a content creator's biggest thing. If I was to show you, let's say, with doing this each and every single year, I'd have to do some things different. I know the map itself can create different things for us all to see, which that's part of the fun of it, and also the seasons element can also, as Six Ashes did for Mr. CDP's walkthrough, can throw some real challenges up, some good and some not so good. I remember a couple of his fields that were totally ruined, and it is devastating. And I know it did devastate him. He everybody sort of felt for him as the fields were ruined, and but it's part of the game. That realism, that off-season, that is truly what it's all about. What makes this such an amazing game is sometimes the failures. It's how you face that challenge and how you overcome it that I think makes you a better farmer, a better person. It's not about perfect farming. There isn't a perfect farmer out there, no matter how good because these skills can be good and can make a difference. A better farmer would have picked up these things and got the field into a better shape than I've managed with this, but yeah, it's a challenge. as I say, I think those extreme let's plays like Frit Gardles and a lot of content creators, Daggerwin, yeah, I think it's part of the challenge of being a content creator to try to do something new that makes people want to go back to a more extreme version because it looks better for people to see. But I also think that truthfully, start from scratch let's play, it is what it is. I think to play it as it's supposed to be it is start from scratch. It's like building a farm from nothing. Again, it's one of the reasons why I think the second-hand equipment mod is so in harmony with start from scratch. It's unbelievable. It really is in harmony with, I think, the actual complete concept. So I would argue with those naysayers who literally complain because you're using that type of mod. Surely as a new farmer, if you were doing this with 500 grand, surely that's exactly what you would do. I couldn't afford brand new equipment. I could blow 500 grand on one decent tractor. So again, I do truly think that this particular thing, I think, oh no, there's a little bit patch over here, and then a little left that. Yeah, I think the second-hand equipment mod is so in tune with stuff from scratch that it's really should be part of the base there, or certainly is something that fits perfectly with start from scratch. I suppose is my point. Now you see, that is what sometimes happens with this. It's where one of the bales doesn't get wrapped, so this is the cheeky bit, which invariably I no doubt some people get to moan about. Okay, so let's get that windrower folded. I'm not going to be able to do it. Okay. Just look the other way. You didn't think that. I didn't just do that. Yeah. I know. In real life, I would be able to actually roll my beta wrapper into it. It's very difficult with the game mechanics to actually achieve that with this setup, but right. Let's just get rid of that bale, and I think let's just have a look and see. We'll switch the help window on for a minute and actually see how many bales we did get out of that, because that's phenomenal. 39! Wow, that is absolutely amazing. I am blown away with that, to be honest. That is fantastic. That's a full set of bales for my auto load. It takes 36 bales, the Agilante. Let's fold everything up, switch that off, lift the pick up, and fold the bale wrapper. Then this time let me see if I can actually get rid of that. Right, now then. The one piece of starting equipment I have not fetched is my autoload. So I am briefly going to pause this from a recording perspective, and I'm going to dart over. I don't care whether to waffle on for 5 minutes and take you guys to this one piece of equipment. Give us an ideal chance to actually look at the map to grab this one piece of equipment. So, as I say, this is no I know Frithgar and some of his Let's Plays, because he's reset with the tractor to go back to the shop, but that's one thing with going the second-hand equipment way that we're not going to do, because I lose all my fuel. And this will give you an opportunity to see just how bad my driving is. Let's do a bit of in cab, which is a strange thing to say for this particular tractor that hasn't got a cab. You know what? It's 26 miles an hour. I know it's fairly slow, but it's just passable. I say I have used the 1300 rebuild, the Fiat, and that, in my opinion, is its weakness, is the fact that it's 21 mile an hour. And as my first Let's Play, first run through of this particular thing, I actually chose the Fiat 1300 rebuild, and it says it's 21 miles an hour, but I also was running the Fendt GTs in my lineup, and I put the 1300 at the last place with Follow Me. And the one thing I noticed was, although it says on paper it's got a speed of 21 miles an hour with the upgraded engine, it actually doesn't do 21 miles an hour, because the Fendt GT's doing 19. I was in the lead Fendt GT running, and the two behind were both on Follow Me. And the 1300, the 1300 rebuild, the Fiat, was lagging further and further behind, like it's ever so slow, and I'm thinking, these are doing 19 miles an hour, but it's supposed to do 21. So I scientifically proved that actually it doesn't do 21 miles an hour. It must do something like, I think originally before the engine rebuild, I went with a slightly larger engine, turbo. It should be 21, but the original speed is either 15 or 16 miles an hour. Now that is painfully slow. It's a shame, it's such a good tractor, but really is so painfully slow like that, but unbelievable. Lovely at the seasons is so beautiful. All the shadows and all the lighting, all the greenery, phenomenal. We're about halfway there. This would be normally where I would have done I'd have had the BGA just round the corner around there, and normally on my standard Let's Plays, I think almost every time I've done Greenwich, I've gone that route, I've used that particular BGA rather than the Whitney one at the top of the map. So this is actually, which is interesting, it's new to me, because it's doing something that it's always, for all of us, it's a necessary part of the game, is to have something fresh, even if you do the same map. I've done this map a few times, and I found one corner of this map that I absolutely love, one set of fields that just work. We may move to that later in the game, when the Let's Play develops from just grass to actually traditional farming. But yeah, right, the shot, let's concentrate on the task at hand. Let's try to see if we can remain in cab for a while. I love this, the weather is absolutely phenomenal. Now then, this is, I'm going to pause the recording for a minute, I'm going to try something. I'll catch up with you guys in a couple of minutes. So we have some kind of person in there has kindly put me by last piece of equipment on top of the agitator. I did see the human stunt, but I don't really want you guys to see that, but I don't know if it's going to work, because I don't think it'll have lock scripts for this particular that usually causes more problems than it solves, so let's see if there is any locking script. If not, what we'll do is I'll pick this up later, but I thought it was worth a shot. It's just my last two pieces of equipment from the first run through. So if we see, I can never remember the equipment colours, whether it's a yellow dot drops off behind us in the road, we'll know that it's not actually locked in place with the scripts. Interesting, let's see what remains there. Right, anyway, let's hope for a little bit of luck and hopefully good driving where I don't plough into something or knock into something and it falls off. Now there's not much in it, but we came from the right earlier, so this time let's take you the other route. I will do this, I'm not going to make a habit of this, but it's lovely to see this with seasons, and this is a different route. Oh, terrible driving, Mr. Smith. Well, not see any dots yet, so it's still on the back of the minute. That's good. Next I'll drive you through the village of Play-Greenwich and show you guys the beauty of seasons. The lighting's just so spot on. In the sky, just try not to run anybody over. I'm not going to walk across the street, so I run him over. There's the green lady that I always call the mad lady. She's on my very first Let's Play ever. I played on Sudbury Meadows, one of my... It's one of those very underrated maps that it is lagging now. It's not seasons compatible, but at the beginning that really didn't matter to me. It was fantastic map. And that lady there, the green lady, she always used to charge in front of my the tractors, and a bit like Mr. CDP, I'm not a big fan of trying to run people over, even though I know it's not legal and the rest of it, but yeah, always I'd be charging down the road on one of the fast tractors at 32 miles an hour, which is fast enough, and she'd walk straight in front of the tractor and you'd run her over every time, and she seems to be one of the worst ones, or the one that I'd really always catch, the lady with the green t-shirt. So I always call her the mad woman from that point onwards. So if you ever hear me talk about the mad woman, you know exactly what I mean. Oh my life. Locking script on that must be absolutely excellent. Yeah. These modders do an absolutely fantastic job of making these wonderful pieces of equipment. I have looked into map editing and a little bit of modding, and I've watched a couple of YouTube videos on how to mod things. I know Fristar talks about it quite a bit, about modding capacities and things like that, but I don't know, it's something I've never done. Fristar goes for a lot of Stevie equipment with enhanced specs and capacities and things like that. I know you can speed things up. I've just recently had that mod myself installed where you can working speed. I've not got it on this Let's Play. I've not got it enabled, so I think it's a little bit unrealistic. Well, I suppose that's debatable. I mean, just make sure that yeah, we're still on the back. Not bad at all. Right. I'm literally about to end my recording session. What I'm going to do before I end my recording session is pick up 36 of those barrels and stick them on the back of the trailer. Now this is seasons. We're on mid-spring, as you all know. Actually, I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to say another word. I'm going to see if the eagle-eyed among you notice what's going to happen next. There may be some of you that actually know that this does do this, but yeah, keep your lips still and you shall notice something quite amazing. Right, okay. So let's change the camera. Look the other way. It's definitely not realistic playing. I do apologise. Right, auto load on. I'll switch the help menu off, which I had forgotten that I'd actually opened half an hour ago, and you guys have been yelling at the screen to say, switch the help menu off. I do apologise for that. So let's leave, we know we're going to have 3 left. Let's leave 3 around the edge. Grab all these middle ones down. Look a bit tidier. Let's try and pick a good course through this. I'm going to slalom. Oh, not close enough to that one. Okay. Sorry if I'm making you guys sick with the let's go and do a bit of bean cap work, shall we? It's a bit more realistic. Also a bit of a challenge for myself. Sleeve, no, let's grab both of these. I've missed the bell then. At the corner of my eye, but I saw a bit of white. It'd be one of those weeds. One of the white weeds. It's beautiful. You almost put yourself in the place of actually being there. It's that realistic. Phenomenal. That's such an excellent game, this is. That immersive. There we are, 29. Getting close now. Right, so I'm going to say in advance, thank you very much for watching. I'm about to end this session. Hopefully, it's just getting to the interesting parts. And again, I'm not going to explain that I'd be glad among you next time I start my session. I noticed something rather strange. Not there's any more. Right, so one more bale. Let's pick. Go for this one. I'll park this straight up at the BGA, so I've got 3 more. That's shocked me because it's very rare in any of my let's suppose on a single field I've ever actually got that amount of bales out. That just goes to show you what fertilising your fields does for you. Right, okay. Before my car catches up. Right, so thanks again for watching. It's hopefully been interesting. Hopefully I've not pulled the tears out of you. It's been a very nice conversation. If only one-sided one. Right. One thing that never ceases to amaze me is the amount of cement mixer lorries in this game. Looking at FS19, that will be something that's corrected. I know they can't do everything, I know, again, game mechanics and all the rest of it. It's in a weird place. Yeah, boxes are much tighter. I can see that's going to give us some grief. Now we'll leave this in a funny place. I want to show you something. Bearing in mind, I'm going to draw your attention to 03 mid-spring, and we've got those on the back of our wagon. Switch the engine off, and just for realism, let me switch this on. I can't quite remember the let's restack them. Some more bales. Show you something just so as you know there's no trickery going on here. Right, let's examine these, and you can see no trickery. I haven't got any mod on to super duper anything. I cannot break the laws of the game's physics. Ooh, look at those clouds. Right, just being thorough. Okay. Don't want there to be any skullduggery or any claims of any kind of trickery. So I'm just being thorough and letting you see that these are all grass. No, not a single one of silage, which would be a miracle since I've just picked up the grass off the field. So, stack those back on here. Brilliant. And that is where we're going to leave it. So, thanks for watching. Catch you guys later, hopefully.